everybody. Ted Haggard here from St. James Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I serve the house church ministry of St. James Church, which is the storehouse. And it's a wonderful, wonderful ministry. And we're very grateful to be able to serve God's people and teach the Word of God. Today we are talking about 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. And I'm not going to be able to cover a lot of it today, but I do want to emphasize one point and kind of develop that just a little bit. And that's all the way down in verse 10. And I always read from the New Living Translation. Here Paul writes, I appeal to you, dear brothers and sisters, by the authority of our Lord Jesus Christ, to live in harmony with one another. Now, notice the word harmony. It doesn't mean we need to be the same. It doesn't mean we need to think the same. It doesn't mean we need to have the same beliefs in certain secular issues, but it means all of us need to be able to blend together in order to produce our primary goals. And so here he says, let there be no divisions in the church. So even though there's diversity, even though there are differences, we get to prioritize how important things are and how important relationships are. All right? Rather, be of one mind. That means in regard to the scriptures, in regard to the Lord, come in harmony together. When I was a youth pastor in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, when the pastor would teach something, I would teach it only on an age-appropriate level. I wanted to be in harmony with that church. I wanted to be in harmony with the pastor's message. I was not there for me. I was there to further the cause and the calling of the church and to support the pastor. And one time a guy asked me, why are you so supportive of Brother Roy? And I said, because I believe in sowing and reaping. And someday I may pastor my own church, and I want people to be just like me in the fact that they listen to me, they serve, and we're able to keep the church together. And we grew New Life up to 14,000 people, and we never had a major problem at all. And a lot of that had to do with sowing and reaping, I believe. It says, be of one mind, united in thought and purpose. So establishing purpose is huge. For some members of Chloe's household have told me about your quarrels, my dear brothers and sisters. Okay, so let's talk about this for just 1 second. Let's talk about relationships. Number one, relationships are the only thing we take to heaven. That's it. None of the other things are going to be significant or important. All we take to heaven are our relationships. All right. So let's think about it, because he says we need to be in harmony. He says there shouldn't be divisions between us. And so we have to decide how important relationships are. Now, interestingly enough, when our families came off the farm and we all started living in cities, churches kind of became like fast food restaurants, where if we got what we wanted, we'd go back there. If we didn't, we'd just choose another one. And a church is a church and all that type of thing. But churches are divine relationships that God builds together in order to accomplish a mission. And if we're not together in that, if we're all independent, then we never accomplish anything. Right now, Israel is united. All right. They were fighting about whether or not politicians should be able to select the judiciary or not. And in the midst of that, there were protests and things like that. But as soon as Hamas made the mistake of attacking Israel the way it did, Israel came together. The liberals and conservatives, the different factions in the nation, they came together in a beautiful way, because they know that a harmonious relationship amongst them, each of them doing their own job, will accomplish this task. And I can assure you that task will be accomplished. All right. So we have to decide if we're part of the team that's going to accomplish tasks. So we have to decide who is in charge. All right. Now, here's what I've observed through the years. Some people are sick, and that causes their lives to be out of control. Some people live in poverty. They can't get out of it, and so they're kind of surviving. It's harder for them. Some people are like me. We're getting old. That gives some limitations in our lives. But all the things that cause the most suffering in the world, I think, are based in misunderstanding relationships and using relationships in a negative way. All right. So here's the issue that we're finding out. There's violence, there's crime, there's child abuse, there's spousal abuse, there's alcoholism, there's drug addiction, there's a proliferation of unloving sex and sensuality and emotional distress. And all of those things researchers are finding are rooted in a broken relationship, a fatherless home. So a child grows up with well-meaning, good mom, but children need to be raised to give them the best possible opportunity with a father and a mother. Why is that? It's because men and women are of equal value, of equal importance, but they have different roles, and testosterone and estrogen produce a different tone in most people. All right. And so when a young man or young woman learns to grow up with a father and a mother in the house where their parents are loving one another, they see commitment, they see forgiveness, they see teamwork, they see love. Love means living for the good of the other. They see those things. And so when something happened that might have resulted in violence, they would know more how to handle it. Domestic disputes happen very often, the majority of the time, between people, or at least one of the persons from a broken home. And I know the great American lie, children are resilient, they'll be fine. That's just not true. And so what do we need to do in order to get along better with one another? That's the big question. And I think our society right now is teaching us how to not get along. We're teaching stand up for yourself, fight for your rights. Everybody's against you. Everybody's a racist. Everybody is an enemy. People are greedy and they'll use you and that type of thing. Well, I think if we want to avoid self-destructive behaviors, we've got to come to ourselves and realize that there are systems in the world, there are rules in the world so that we can be healthy people. And I'll tell you, local churches suffer because sometimes they don't have healthy people, and those unhealthy people can cause all kinds of problems and difficulties for the leadership. All right. And so here's, let me just give you a little primer on this. There are four sets of relationships described in the Bible. One is the home, the family. I've already talked about that just a little bit. All right. So there's a father and a mother, and there are children. Now, society is working to change the definition of the family, meaning any small group of people, regardless of some of the other dynamics. I don't think that's wise. I think God created intimacy between a man and a woman to keep them connected, to keep them as one. And God created them in a committed relationship. All right, in a committed relationship, not an open relationship, so that union can build. The man becomes really in love and dependent on his wife, and the wife becomes in love and dependent on her husband. They work together as a team, and then the children come up under that union, and the children will try to divide them. The children will try to get them against one another, and they just stay together. Gail and I have been married 45 years. We have 5 kids. We are so amazed how awesome our 5 kids have turned out. They all love God. None of them are bitter. None of them are angry. None of them are unemployable because of their behaviors or things like that. It's just incredible how wonderful they turned out. Now, I don't know if you know it, but I'm not perfect. Now, my wife is closer to perfection, no doubt about it. She's awesome. Okay. But what's interesting about that is you would think that the two of us staying together with this odd combination of personalities that we have wouldn't really be good for the kids. But the opposite is the case. When the kids want some things, they call me. When the kids want a different thing, they call Gail. And then we talk together and we work with that. So the home is so important, everybody. And if we haven't figured out the home, it's hard for us to understand the church. The church is another system that the Lord has given us, spiritual authority. All right. So there's a pastor and there's typically elders and deacons or whatever. All right. So People that can't get along in the church have more heartache than others. People that can't get along in the family have more heartache than others. They haven't figured out the fundamentals of life. All right. So we're not talking about perfection. As I said, we are talking about understanding other people, other personalities, other priorities, and serving them. There's another system, and that is work. And work or school, to be successful in any of those, you have to know how to work with a team. Do you know nothing in your home was produced purely by an individual? It took a team. Elon Musk gets an idea. He hires thousands of people. And thousands of us fund him by buying his stock. And then we make a lot of money. All right. And so it's a win-win situation. When they say big corporations are bad or negative, it's just not true. Everything you're wearing right now was built by a corporation. Every one of the books behind me was produced by a corporation. Your house was probably built by a group of people that worked together, and the plumbers did a different thing than the electricians, and they worked together. So all of us need to get a job and stick with it and build a career. All of us need to understand how to be successful in school and how to be successful at work. And then, of course, there's civil authorities. All right, so a police officer is a police officer. Whether you like the police or not, when they stop you for whatever reason, if you're respectful, life will go better for you. I don't know why it hasn't dawned on some people that when they fight with the police and then run from them, that they might not have the same future they would have had otherwise. All right. And so if you're disrespectful to a judge, or if you give a mean look to certain people, then in civil authority, like you're brash to a mayor or a governor, or you're just mean and awful, then that means you're missing some opportunities in life. So I believe most people that have violent tempers or commit a crime or abuse a child or that type of thing, it's all rooted in broken relationships. It's all rooted in not understanding how to work with people. It's all rooted in problems of understanding others. And so every one of us need to understand this. When he says, live in harmony with one another, if you say, well, I do my part, but they're just awful people. No, you're causing that. All right. Or if you say, well, I'm right and they're wrong. Well, you may be right, but you're dead right, because you're not getting the goal of the thing. See, have you ever noticed okay, I've been a pastor all my life. All I do are meetings. And all I've ever done professionally are meetings. Meetings with God, meetings with people, private meetings, public meetings. All we do are meetings. It's all getting along with other people. It's all working with other people. All right. And I'm 67 years old and I feel good. Gil and I are active in all kinds of things in our community. We love our church. We love the people who come to our church. And we even love the people that are a little harder to get along with, because people are the way they are for a reason. People do what they do for a reason. And if we can understand people and serve people, then we are better off. All right. So anyway, get that idea, work with it just a little bit. We're going to develop it a little bit more. Next week, we're covering 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, and that discusses this some more. All right. Well, the Lord Jesus bless you, and I hope to see you again soon.